Hello, this week I thought it would be nice to explore thumbnailing a bit more. Why we do thumbnailing and the reason behind it, or what thumbnailing exactly is. What I have here in Word is one sentence, still open to a lot of interpretation. And the dragon left his lair once more to scour the world. So what I'm doing, I'm going to pick this sentence, going to put it here in Photoshop, zoom in a bit, and then what I'm going to do, or what you should try to do, is we're going to make some thumbnails, some composition sketches using only this sentence. So I'll make some frames and then try to come up with some ideas. So here, especially with thumbnails, forming different ideas is a very important part. So I'll try with each thumbnail, I'll try to have different ideas going on, different point of views. Thumbnailing is not about creating nice sketches or nice finished illustrations. So don't expect those. What we're going to do is just small sketches, not too big, so we don't get too detailed and too attached to it. And normally a thumbnail wouldn't take more than like 10 minutes, so don't spend more than 10 minutes on it. Probably will spend around 5 minutes, something like that. But before I start making thumbnails, making small compositions, what I like to do first is warm up a bit, maybe have a closer look to this sentence, create some kind of mind map around it, just to get inspired. So I like to work on paper first. For me personally, it gives a bit more freedom, but some people like to work in Photoshop or start in Photoshop. That's no problem. And some people directly start with values, others concentrate on line art first. Some people start in color directly, so it depends a bit. What I'm going to do here is probably I'll start with line art and values, combination, and so on. But again, and before that, let's have a closer look at this sentence here. The document I'm using, it's fairly big, so it's an A3. Why? Just I don't get limited by the size. If you look here, I'm 50% zoomed in, so if I want, I can still zoom in more. I have a lot of empty space here to work with. So again, I don't get limited by Photoshop. So this is our sentence. Make it green. There's a background. Probably I'll lock it, give it first a darker color. Let's lock it. Okay. So let's see. So if I look at the sentence here, the dragon left his lair once more to scour the world. It's still open to a lot of or you still have a lot of freedom in terms of IDs, I guess. So what we have is a dragon, so don't make a sheep or something, it's a dragon, and then we can work around layer, and then basically everything that you can find in the world. So world can be an ancient world, can be medieval world, can be futuristic, and so on, and that's up to you to decide. The dragon can be an evil kind of dragon, but the dragon can also be quite kind. Then you can think about, okay, evil, why is it evil? Maybe some people or a certain group did something to hurt it and did something wrong to it. It can, for example, the dragon can be, so what I'm doing here is not really a mind map, I'm just trying to get some ideas on the screen here on paper. The dragon can be in search of in search of gold, for example, like the cliche, gold belongings. Can be in search of revenge. So maybe like belongings can be his it's like a mother dragon, his babies, maybe gold, rich time. Okay, so evil, a kind, revenge, so maybe it attacks and the dragon is full of spears, swords, and so on. The world, think about villages, castle. So what I have in mind, it's fairly medieval, fantasy like, but you can go quite extreme with it, and that's up to you. Okay, so I'll leave it for now, but like I said, you can keep going in search of nice ideas. What I like to do, so I'm just hinting it here, that's one thing you can do, creating a mind map or just write your ideas down. A second thing you can do is warm-up sketches. For this video I didn't really prepare my references yet. That's probably something you would do after you have your ideas on paper, but I think it can be helpful to investigate like the dragon shapes or probably shapes from other animals, to get a bit familiar with the dragon. What I did, I didn't really prepare references, because I thought it would be cool to guide you through that process also. So I'll go to the Firefox here. Maybe we can start with, okay, dragon. What is a dragon? I think everyone knows how a dragon looks like, more or less. But the thing is, all those drawings here, sketches, 3D models, and so on, are designed. So we're not supposed to really pick one and say, okay, here how to train my dragon or your dragon. So we're not allowed like, okay, this is nice dragon, I'm just going to copy that one. No, what we should do is try to find out what those artists here got their references from. So if I look at the dragon, those dragons, so I think everyone knows, okay, dragon has 2 wings, a tail, a more aggressive head, but then again it depends a bit, with a long neck with a head on it. So what I would do is try to find out what animals have the same typical elements or characteristics going on. For example, here the wings remind me a bit of a bat, for example. This head's a bit like a T-Rex, and so on. So what I would do is type bat, for example, like those wings we can use, and then maybe use a picture here to base ourselves on, and just to get or to warm up a bit. Let's see, so maybe this one, new image, I'll copy it. So copy image, put it over here in Photoshop, like this part, just to get warmed up. So I have a certain shape here of the bat, some ears. So right now I'm not really focusing on the correct details or value shapes. What I would like to do here is just look at the general shapes that make up the wings, for example. So here notice it goes straight. Some kind of bone structure. some fingers in here, and then this part looks quite thin. So here it rounds again the two fingered things. If you notice here, so the two lines start in one point. Same thing here probably. And something like that. So that's enough for now, just to get warmed up, to get the shapes in our fingers here. Okay, let's see. So probably the head, maybe you can use it, but I was thinking about maybe crocodile. You can use other reptiles. Let's see, that's also a nice shape here. Image. Yeah. So put it in Photoshop. So as you can see, the wings attach the upper body here, the upper part of the body. So I guess this is like the first line again here, and the second one over here, like this. And again, like in the thumbnails, we won't go that precise. It's always nice to have an ID, or just a regular ID in mind, especially if you're not really familiar with the shapes. Otherwise, if you would draw a dragon and you don't know, for example, how wings would look like, then maybe you end up with like rectangular shaped wings, which is a bit weird. Okay, let's see, maybe one more. From below. Okay, copy this image. So here again, it's nice to have a fairly big document, so don't get really limited by the size here. So again, it's like a straight line, two lines starting from one point here, skeleton, fingers, that like that. Okay. And maybe reptiles. Let's see. So reptiles, like the leg structures, maybe we can use it. The head here of the crocodile, it's like an alligator. So try to see again. Try to see the basic shapes here. So it rounds a bit. In this part, then you have like the eyes in here, and the nose part here, like this. And I can imagine, like with the dragon, you see the scales, like maybe some hairs or something like that. Okay, that's a nice shape. Be cool. So in Photoshop. So probably here I'm already spending, or I'm going too much in detail in terms of thumbnailing. Yeah. But okay. I'll do a couple of more of them, and then we can start. So maybe I can combine a bit with the crocodile things, and eyes here, quite long, and shaped here on the nose, scales, like that. Okay. Let's see, legs. So nice. Maybe dragonfly. Okay. So I close this for now. So I did some warm sketches here. What we can do is just group them, hide everything. Okay. So we'll give it a gray color here. Sketches, and this is my sentence. So I'll put the sentence over here, and then you can start. So for the thumbnails, what you can do before you start is look at your inspiration folder, for example, and just go through it to get inspired. Probably you saved images with nice colors, compositions, perspective, things like that. Even if it's about like a different topic, or it goes about color, and you're right now focusing on getting a nice idea on paper. Maybe it inspires you and triggers you with new ideas. So go through it. What I like to do first is just get the things from my mind on paper, and then see how far you can get. So for this assignment or for this exercise, we don't really have a set dimension. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create different frames, a bit like that. Probably I'll also make sure I have different horizon lines going on in each frame, so you get a lot of variation going on. What I'm not going to do, I'm not going to zoom in 100%. I'll stay zoomed out because I don't really want to get attached to my thumbnail here. So let's see. We have a dragon left his lair once more to scour the world. So not really sure what I'm going to do here. Probably I'll start with just a dragon flying, scouring the world. So I'll get the sun here. Maybe this is a beach or something, like a castle over here. So that can be one idea already. Right now I'm not really focusing on the composition yet. I have it in my mind somewhat, but right now I'm really focusing on getting the ideas on paper. So I have a dragon, I have a world over here, and probably like this is the first sketch. Most of the time your first sketch isn't the best one, and even if you think so it's the best one, just make the other ones to be sure. So that's one idea. Okay, don't really like it, but okay, no problem. Let's go to the next one here. So maybe we can go a bit more in detail. So we have a dragon, he left his lair. Why did he left his lair, for example, and where is the lair? So maybe the lair is in the mountain somewhere. So you can start drawing a mountain here, very roughly. Get some hills, water, grasslands, I don't know, maybe other mountains in the distance. And I have like the big dragon. Probably want to look at my sketches once more. Okay. detail like this, roaring. Like this. And like you can see, I'm not really focused on anatomy, pose a little bit, but like the details, scales, and so on. I'm trying to get my IDs on papers here. So that's one ID already, or two IDs. Okay. And then, like, probably if I like it, I would blow it up a bit, or zoom in a bit more, and then define everything a bit more. But what you don't want to do is like detail every thumbnail here, because who knows, maybe you don't end up using it, and then you lost all your time, focusing on or working out a thumbnail that you don't use in the end. So don't get too attached with it. Okay, so dragon, maybe like we saw in the mind map here, he's taking revenge or something. So I was thinking maybe we can have some kind of village. So what I try to do in every thumbnail, I'll start with the horizon line to get my perspective going. I can use a 1 point here, 1 point perspective. Let's see, village. So probably I'll just start with basic shapes here. This is the village. Maybe I have a forest over here in the foreground to frame it a bit and to drag the eye to the village here, like a mountain. And over here, trees in the foreground. Some people over here. You can see the dragon over here. But right now, I'll the first thing I notice here, okay, so the focus here is more on the people, the trees maybe in the foreground, the dragon is quite small, the village is quite small, so probably it won't work. But this sketch triggered me to trigger me a new idea. So maybe instead of really focusing here on the foreground, what I can do is set my camera on top of this building, for example, and just look at the dragon over here. So that can be an idea for the next sketch. So maybe have, let's break it up a bit like this. So that's the cool thing about Photoshop. I think you can't do on paper is just reframe everything or reposition everything. I'll put it somewhere over here because we're fairly high. I'm standing on the tower. I'll take a 2 point perspective here, something like that. Like inside of a building here. Some walls. And the forest in the background, like this. And then we see like a huge dragon over here attacking some people. I guess. And again, like thumbnails, normally you don't show them to, if you're working for a client, for example, you don't show them to a client, because if you would present something like this, that's too rough. It's something personal right now, probably only you, and I hope you guys get something out of it. Like it's still too rough. Yeah, if you present something like that, probably an art director is going to doubt, okay, is he really going to finish, or is he really able to finish this project? If you're working with clients, you want to present them with a certain quality in your work, and this is still too rough. But then, like, this is a starting point. You start with very rough sketches, and if you like the idea behind it, probably you make it better. Let's see, another one. The horizon line. Driving here. So when I was thinking about a dragon flying to the sky, I was thinking, okay, maybe you can like put cannons on his wings here. I have like the head over here, and it's like some kind of sky pirates on top of his back firing the cannons, and this would be like a very evil kind of dragon with guys on it and the pirates, and then maybe you have like some kind of fairy tale castle going on over here. So everything over here would be very nice and beautiful, and then here in the foreground it would get darker, and then you have like a sunset maybe here going on, putting some lost fading light on the castle here, something like that. But then if you compare like this dragon, like the pose, it's like quite boring. It's just static. Maybe an evil dragon can be a bit more dynamic. Maybe some guys can fall off. So I was thinking, let's see, make it a bit more dynamic here. Something like that. Another thing over here. So we have the cannons over here with the guys on it, and maybe it's like one guy, like a pirate over here with like a flamethrower or something, and this dragon is spitting fire through the sky. And this guy is like flamethrowing like and burning birds over here. Like those birds just pass by. The cannons over here. I mean, it's like a guy falling off. Like we have a rope or something. One guy is being tossed off and it just falls down. But then, like those pirates over here will be quite stupid and like replaceable. Get what I mean? They don't really care. They just want to get to the fairy castle over here. Maybe you can have some. Maybe they're in the clouds or something. So this can be clouds, and this would be more like a top-down view, where we see like parts of the castle sticking out or something in the background. Maybe here in the sky, a bit higher. And as you can see, like the way we took here to get to this idea, so first you start with something like that, and then you end up with more crazier ideas. And that's the thing about thumbnailing. You never know what you end up with, because if you just focus on one idea and then you stick with that one, probably your chances are it's like not the best one, and then your final illustration or sketch or concept or idea is also like not so good. So take your time. So that's one idea. Okay, so I kind of like it, but let's go further. So what you can do if you like it is just make like the border a bit darker, so you know, or you can put a dot here or an X. So I'm not really organized with my shapes here. Some people like to, for example, if this would be in A4, is like to plan their canvases before they start. That's something you can do. Whatever works for you. Then one thing, okay, maybe instead of really showing the dragon, what we can do is hint it. So like here the kasha would be darker because the dragon is closer to the ground, and then it gets lighter. What we do is like hint the kasha of the wings. Maybe you have like the head over here very light because the distance from the ground to the head is quite large, so the kasha here would be blurred, lighter, and so on. But maybe it's a cool way to really show like the length of his neck over here, like that. And then of course some people, so like people over here in panic. So this guy is like nailed to the ground. Doesn't really show, but that's the thing I have in my mind here. Then maybe not. Maybe this is like a guy. There's a guy, and he's pushing like this woman forward to take her instead of me, which is a bit cruel, but that makes it interesting, I guess. A dog over here, maybe barking. People running away, more people, children, older people, and so on. So you know, maybe there was like a market going on, so you see some stuff, people drop stuff and then run away. Okay, and maybe some architecture here. So probably it's not really architecture, but like the ground, stones or something. So that can be another idea. And what you can also, you can always go back like to other thumbnails. Like here you start with people, so maybe what I can do here, like there's like one guy, an adventure, going up this mountain here, and then this dragon thinks, okay, he wants to get my gold, so maybe it's like gold over here, which is a bit weird outside of the mountain here, but okay. Maybe like the layer is over here and like it's full with gold, so it just trips out, falls out, and like this dragon was sleeping and still some gold on his body here, and trips on the ground. But of course he's like furious, and maybe like it's just warming up to burn this guy. And what else? Maybe a longer one here. Let's see. So this is like always, or what we have over here is we always focus on the dragon here. So maybe what we can do is have some kind of top-down view. Let's see. So we focus a bit more on some kind of village. Start with perspective first here. So look at some lines. Trying to hint some 3-point perspective here. Some buildings. Yes. So right now I don't really care what kind of buildings those are. I'm just hinting that we have some structures going on. Then maybe have like maybe the neck of the dragon here going up, sort of going down and outside the frame, and then coming up again like this, like a wing framing this part of it. ID. Like, and if at this point I don't like it, so what I do, I just stop. So I quit, make my frame, and then go to the other one. Yeah. But maybe it triggers you to new IDs. One I was thinking here, and so I have some kind of mind map here. So revenge, belongings, and baby. Maybe it's like a circus artist, and maybe it's this guy, and then he got the baby of the mother dragon. So they are like on their way. They have like a wagon over here, more or less a cage on it, and we see like a baby dragon in it, and there's like this guy, the circus artist, some trees along the road, and then there's like this dragon getting back or taking revenge to this guy over here. So that was the idea I had in mind. It wasn't really the composition I had in mind. For what I did over here, I just sketched down the setting a bit. It can be top view and so on, but just to make sure I have it on paper already. What I'm going to do right now is like, okay, focus on the composition a bit more and make sure it reads a bit better. So I was thinking of maybe having some kind of top view where I can see the carriage over here, like a top view. And this would be like a road and so on. The baby dragon in here, all locked up, and then like a fellowship. And then let's see, because I still need some room for the dragon, of course. So maybe again, like what we can do is put like this company in half shadow. So I can imagine like the dragon coming in here from the left, casting a shadow on those guys over here. So like the first one, those guys over here don't really know what's going on, and they just keep on walking, but those guys are in shadow already, and they start looking up. Oh, what's going on? Stuff like that. Some trees. And then maybe, okay, this point of view is a bit too extreme, so what you can do is always make a new frame and then play with the composition a bit more. So let's see, maybe we are like in the middle. So here's like the horizon line, we have the cage or the carriage over here, the dragon in it, and then we are like some one of the guys here, and there's, okay, it's one guy walking over here, it's like a bigger guy like this, guys in the back, probably here. Shadow, ghost shadow, trees going on. And this baby dragon gets excited because it can sense or smell the dragon. It's only ghost shadow, and then it tries to escape, and like this thing here, the carriage, breaks down and. Not really exploding, but the baby dragon breaks the wood and then try to set free. So again, like here I'm just scribbling a bit. I know that I want this dragon, the baby dragon, escaping, right? But right now I'm not really focusing on the action or the anatomy. And then the same thing here, if an art director would ask, okay, I want a baby dragon escaping some kind of carriage or cage, yeah? And if he presents something like this to the art director, he won't understand it because it's just too hard to read. Yeah? You need more definition, but that's something you can do if you like it, and you can make it better, basically. Moments here on the back. Okay. Also kind of like this one. I'm not sure about the point of view yet. Let's see. So the higher you're going to put your rise line, and the more you're going to show, or what you're going to do is you basically going to look down on objects, on stuff. The lower you set it, so if it's almost on the ground here, the lower you will be and the more you will look up. So maybe what I want to do here is create some kind of 3-point perspective a bit, so we can, so like basically the trees all go to the same point here. This would be the road somewhere. Baby dragon. And here you can already decide, okay, is this my focus point, or is this guy over here screaming, running away, is this the focus point? What I like to do, okay, this would get quite complex, baby dragon escaping and so on, so maybe I push it more to the background here, and then put my focus somewhere else. So very rough, but I tried it. I had my idea in mind. I tried it to put it on paper. So this would be like the dragon flying over this direction. Pull over here, nail to the ground, a bit like that. Yeah, could work. Right now it's too small, yeah, but I have an idea. Okay, so I had a couple of ideas here, and at a point you would be out of ideas. That's normal. And what you can do right now is like leave the project or leave the thumbnail for a couple of hours, do something else, but like something completely different, and then come back to it to get new ideas and new point of views. Or what you can do is maybe again go through the inspiration folder to get inspired. What I was thinking is sometimes you see like those videos of guys I'm not sure, it's not really skydiving, but flying through mountains and hillsides. So I had the same idea with this dragon. So what you can do, for example, is go to the internet again and let's see, fly suit guy fast. Let's see, it's this guy or those things I'm talking about, like those things. So maybe what we can do is have something like that. And what we do is basically we are underneath the dragon, so the belly of the dragon here. It can work. So let's see. So I'm going to take this idea, this composition maybe, and make a new frame here. Probably want to save it before you lose everything. Oh yes. Let's see, so we had some mountains over here, mountain range over here, and then basically we have at the belly of the dragon over here. And again, maybe we're back at the sky pirate, so maybe it's like a cage over here with a guy sitting. Probably you want to hint that we are still underneath the dragon. So we have some wings, but those are outside of the composition, so maybe we can do something with fire here. So it's dark, it's nighttime, but this guy, this dragon is very excited, and it starts breathing fire, and they're having fun. Right now it doesn't really read, doesn't really work, but the ID behind it can work. So maybe we can show those guys a different point of view. So here, like basically I'm forced to get a more or longer canvas. So let's see, maybe we can go a bit more static and like focus on the friendship here. So maybe the guys here are making some loops, having fun together. The belly of the dragon here and the neck, and remember the crocodile thing. So the warm-up sessions came in handy, and I still have like the wings over here. So I'm not sure how I would draw the wings here. So then if you would take this composition or take this ID, probably you have to refine everything a bit more, because here if I put like the shape of the wing against the head here, or behind the shape of the head here, I lose an interesting silhouette. So probably I want to find something else, or maybe just like clouds here, so they break up the shape. And this is a bit more in distance. That's further away. I have like the legs going on, like the tail. Right now it's more like a dragon chilling in the clouds, but you can still change it like this. The pose is not dynamic enough, so that's probably want to change, or something we want to change. So maybe you can, let's see, rotate it a bit. Have this. Probably what I would do here if I pick this one is look at birds racing through the sky, falling down, eagles, stuff like that. And again, maybe this dragon over here is breathing fire again. Like this. Let's see. This would be the wing. It's like a spear or something. I'm not sure. So maybe they attack the dragon. It's flying away. Okay, so this is probably enough time spent on this thumbnail. Make everything a bit smaller here. So I hope you get the idea here, and it's not really about making a nice drawing. It's about getting your ideas down. And the next step probably is so you make thumbnails. Let's see. So like step one, you get a certain sentence, you get a certain or a small text, or you get a small description. First thing probably is you make thumbnails. So we call them thumbnails. Next step is like you pick. I would pick like 1, 2, 3 thumbnails. Refine them. So you would refine the thumbnails so they work, and you have a nice composition going in. So refinement would happen here. Refine. What you can do as a second part here of the that will be the pipeline from start to finish and finished illustration. What you can do here is light studies, so value studies. And third thing here, what you can do is color studies. So color studies. Most of the time, what I would do personally is like combine those two. So I would make thumbnails and then make color studies. Once you have color studies, you can start with like you can go directly to the finished illustration, but maybe you can have like a color rough in between. Basically it's a more refined version of the color study. So still here like it would be 1, 2, 3 thumbs, for example. Maybe still here 1, 2, 3. But at a point you have to choose one, of course. So this will be like 1 and the color rough, and then a finished illustration. Finish illustration. Here, finish illustration. So that's probably like the pipeline. Some people start directly with color studies and so on. Some people start with line art first and then apply values on it. It's something personal. Whatever works for you. Just make sure you end up with a finished illustration. And then people are not going to care about, okay, did he start in 3D first, or did he start modeling it first in clay? They don't really care. Just make sure they care about the end result, which is the finished illustration. So I'll probably do a couple of more. Nothing special, so I'll fast forward it. And what I like you to do is come up with some own ideas, some own thumbnails, and then probably next week we will refine them a bit more, think a bit more about the composition. What I can say right now about composition is just make sure like you don't really place everything against the edges. Give your so probably here what I would do is extend the frame a bit more and give your focus points some breathing space. Make sure if you have certain objects, for example people, that you don't really cut them in half like this. Would be a bit weird. Those things. Try to work with focus points, and so focus on certain parts. But next week, that will be something probably for next week, where we pick the favorite thumbnails and refine them a bit more. So also please know that I'm working with different frames here. So sometimes a frame is a bit more horizontal, vertical. So make sure you use different framings. Don't always stick with the same frame. So here I cleaned up the pipeline a bit, but then again it depends a lot on the type, of course. If this would be just a concept of a certain level, for example, or whatever, is maybe you don't really have time to make a lot of value studies and thumbnails and color studies, and you have to finish it like in one day. So it depends a bit. Yeah. So here I'm talking about an illustration, but it can depend a lot on the kind of assignment and type. So probably from now on, I'm going to fast forward everything. So it would be great if you can come up with some own ideas, some own thumbnails, so you can refine them next week. Thank you for watching. I just wanted to let you know that I made a group on Facebook called Weekly Challenges. I thought it would be easier to put it on Facebook here. The reason for this group is that I create some kind of platform where everyone can upload their pictures and drawings of the weekly challenges, so you can see and maybe you can learn something from it. So feel free to find weekly challenges on Facebook to upload your work.